Look at your kitchen counter. You probably have a graveyard of appliances you bought and used exactly twice. But a blender? That is the one tool you will actually use every single morning. If you are stuck choosing between a Ninja and a Nutribullet, you probably think they do the exact same thing, just spin sharp blades really fast. Not even close. Let me explain the real difference between them and show you exactly which one belongs in your kitchen. Blending performance and motor power. Nutribullet bases its entire identity on speed and a highly specific cyclonic action. They usually pack anywhere from 600 to 1200 watts into those surprisingly compact bases. The extractor blades sit flat at the absolute bottom of the cup. When you lock that cup into the base, the motor screams to life and creates a literal physical vortex inside the container. It pulls everything from the top down into the blades over and over again in a continuous loop. It is an incredibly efficient system for liquefying things quickly. Ninja takes a completely different approach to power. They throw heavy wattage at the problem, sometimes pushing well past 1500 watts on their bigger units. But the real difference is the physical blade design. Ninja uses a patented, stacked blade tower. Instead of a flat blade sitting at the bottom, you have a plastic shaft running straight up the middle of the pitcher with razor-sharp blades sticking out at various heights. It is an aggressive, dominating system. It behaves a lot less like a vortex and much more like a high-speed wood chipper. If you dump a massive block of solid ice into a Ninja, it will turn it into fine snow in seconds without breaking a sweat. The motor simply does not strain. It just destroys whatever is in its path. But that specific stacked blade design has a massive impact on the final result in your cup, which brings us to the most critical part of any blender review. Texture and consistency results. If you are someone who genuinely likes green juice, if you regularly throw raw spinach, kale, chia seeds, and flax into your cup, you absolutely want the Nutribullet. That vortex I mentioned earlier is completely merciless on fibrous greens and tiny seeds. It breaks them down on a microscopic level. You get a drink that is genuinely silky smooth. You will not find yourself chewing on a rogue piece of raw kale at the bottom of your cup, and you will not get raspberry seeds stuck in your teeth. The Nutribullet delivers a juice bar quality smoothness that is extremely hard to beat at home. Ninja really struggles in this specific category because of that stacked blade tower. The ingredients are getting chopped violently, but they are not always getting pulled down into a fine, homogeneous puree. If you make a raw green smoothie in a Ninja, you will almost certainly taste the texture of the leaves. It leaves a slightly gritty or pulpy finish that some people find very off-putting. But flip the scenario entirely. Let's say you want to make a thick, spoonable acai bowl that looks like ice cream. Or maybe you are making a massive batch of frozen margaritas for a weekend party. The Ninja is the undisputed champion of heavy, frozen ingredients. It crushes ice so uniformly and easily that you get a perfect, thick, frosty texture every single time. The Nutribullet can handle ice, but you have to use a lot of liquid to keep things moving. Otherwise, the blades just spin pointlessly in an air pocket at the bottom of the cup, while your frozen fruit stays stuck at the top. Versatility and kitchen integration. Nutribullet is hyper-focused on the single-serve, grab-and-go lifestyle. The entire ecosystem is built around the idea of blending in the exact same vessel you are going to drink out of. You fill the cup, screw on the blade base, blend it, swap the blade for a travel lid, and walk out the door. It is fast, it is isolated, and it is highly specific to one person at a time. You are not going to make a massive batch of salsa for a dinner party in a standard Nutribullet. You are certainly not going to mix bread dough or chop vegetables. It does one thing exceptionally well. Ninja is a totally different beast. When you buy a full Ninja kitchen system, you are essentially buying a food processor, a blender, and a dough mixer all at once. The base is explicitly designed to accept multiple different attachments. You can snap on the massive 72-ounce pitcher to make drinks for an entire family breakfast. You can swap that pitcher out for a food processor bowl to chop onions, dice tomatoes, and make fresh guacamole. Some models even come with single-serve cups to mimic the Nutribullet experience when you need it. It is a true kitchen workhorse that wants to be the absolute center of your meal prep routine. Ease of use and controls. Nutribullet absolutely masters this concept. The classic models do not even have buttons or switches. There is no digital interface to figure out. You push the cup down, give it a slight twist to lock it into the base, and the motor runs. You twist it back the other way to stop it. That is the entire process. It requires zero thought and zero training. Ninja gives you a lot more control, but that naturally means you have to interact with a much more complex control panel. Most modern Ninjas feature what they brand as Auto IQ technology. You lock the massive pitcher in, press a specific button that says Smoothie or Ice Crush, and the machine runs a pre-programmed timed cycle. It will pulse aggressively, pause to let the ingredients settle down to the blades, and then ramp up to maximum speed. It takes the guesswork out of blending times, which is genuinely great. But it also means you are actively pushing buttons, waiting for cycles to finish, and monitoring the process. And it is worth noting that if you are using one of the cheaper base model Ninja single-serve cups, you actually have to stand there and physically hold the cup pushed down into the base the entire time it blends. You cannot simply turn it on and walk away to grab your keys or pack your bag. Design and countertop footprint. Nutribullet is sleek, minimalist, and highly contained. It is essentially just a heavy, powerful cylinder. It takes up very little vertical space and has almost no footprint on your counter. You can easily leave it tucked into a back corner under your upper cabinets, and it blends right into the background. If you do want to put it away, it fits easily into a standard kitchen drawer or onto a low shelf. Ninja is loud, both in actual decibel sound and in physical presence. The motor bases are incredibly wide and bulky because they have to provide a stable foundation for those massive 72-ounce pitchers. If you leave the tall pitcher attached to the base, it might not even clear the bottom of your standard upper kitchen cabinets. It is a highly visible, dominating appliance. You have to dedicate a permanent, significant square of your counter to it. Furthermore, storing all the extra processor bowls, dough hooks, blades, and lids requires dedicating an entire kitchen cabinet just to your Ninja accessories. Materials and cleanup safety. The Nutribullet blade assembly is flat, shallow, and highly accessible. You just run it under warm water with a single drop of soap. Give it a quick, safe wipe with a sponge, and you are done in 10 seconds flat. It is incredibly safe and incredibly easy. Cleaning a full-size Ninja pitcher is a completely different and slightly stressful experience. That stacked blade tower is fully removable, which helps, but you are still dealing with a foot-long plastic shaft covered in razor-sharp blades facing in literally every direction. You have to be incredibly careful when handling it in a sink full of soapy water. One quick slip, and you are getting a nasty cut on your hand, or shredding your favorite sponge to pieces. Plus, the square corners of the big Ninja pitchers mean you have to actually reach deep inside and scrub the bottom edges, whereas the perfectly round Nutribullet cups wipe completely clean with one effortless swipe. The final verdict. If your main priority is making flawless, perfectly smooth green juices, daily protein shakes, and quick morning breakfasts with absolute zero hassle and lightning-fast cleanup, you need to buy the Nutribullet. It is the undisputed king of the daily single-serve routine. It does one thing perfectly. But if you have a family, if you regularly host parties, if you want to make thick, dense smoothie bowls, crush solid ice for summer margaritas, and occasionally chop vegetables for a fresh salsa, the Ninja is the heavy-duty powerhouse you need. Stop looking at the wattage numbers and pick the machine that actually matches how you live your life.